Hello, and welcome to AI Security Ops, the podcast where we cut through the hype and explore the real-world intersection of artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. Each week, we examine how AI is reshaping both sides of the security landscape, both in the threats that we face and in the defenses we're building. I'm Bronwyn Aker, and I'm joined today by Derek Banks and Brian Furman. And in this episode, we're digging into one of the most talked about AI stories, the stories in AI and security going on right now, namely the story about Anthropic's Claude Mythos Preview, a model that is so capable of finding and exploiting vulnerabilities that Anthropic decided not to release it to the public. They decided the public simply can't have it. This show is brought to you by Black Hills Information Security and Anti-Siphon Training. BHIS helps organizations identify and close real-world security gaps through penetration testing, adversary emulation, purple team engagements, and managed detection and response. We do SOC as a service. Yay. Anti-Siphon, on the other hand, delivers hands-on, practitioner-led training that is built around real-world tools and real-world attacks. So you can take what you learn in your courses and apply it immediately. Learn more at blackhillsinfosec.com or, for training, antisiphonttraining.com.
So, I guess this week we're going to talk about Mythos because no one else is talking about Mythos. But we'll give you our takes on
Mythos?
it. What is this Mythos thing? So,
It's a mythical AI.
Yeah, which, I guess that's why they named it Mythos. So, not publicly released. Existence was originally leaked back, 2 weeks ago? Probably 3 weeks by the time this episode comes out. Leaked because some reporter had found, 3,000 articles that were unpublished, I guess, on either a dev site. Yeah. Which that seems like an awful, as a company that, at Black Hills, we put out a lot of content. To have like 3,000 unpublished things is like our content and community's like dream, right? Like we're always being asked, hey, can y'all write more blog posts? But to have 3,000 unpublished in the hamper would be like, man, they'd probably go for 3 or 30, right?
And Anthropic is blaming a human error in the CMS configuration for the initial breach. But then they got a second leak that exposed 512,000 lines of Claude code and source code through an NPM package.
Well, yeah, that was, I guess the source maps or something were included in an NPM package bill or something, and the source code for Claude code was released, or leaked, rather. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely buy that, but there's definitely folks who are very cynical. Seems like Anthropic is one of those like companies now that's starting to be, there's this polarization of people who like Anthropic and people who don't like Anthropic. And I don't know, through all this time, even like of the rumors of like, Claude not working well, like now, which I haven't experienced. I assume, I mean, I'm not an LLM engineer, but I might have stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. When you're under a lot of load, they might quantize the model they're offering you, and they have a lot of demand, and it's not, I think people underestimate the engineering feat that OpenAI and Anthropic and Amazon and these model providers, this isn't insignificant what they're doing. I mean, they're running thousands and thousands of GPUs to host these things for us. And so, did some people catch, Opus when they had to quantize it under load or something? Like, I don't know. But either way, I have not had the same experience. But I definitely think there's at least some fuel to people being cynical about the source code leak, the blog release, and now this whole Mythos thing, the statement they came out with, and I'll let y'all handle the statement because I want to hear y'all's takes. Actually, I heard Bronwyn's take. I was watching the news yesterday, so I did hear Bronwyn's take. So let's go with Brian. Brian, what do you think about Mythos?
What do I think about Mythos? So we're talking about the statement of I'm trying to find it here in the notes. We're talking about the statement of them withholding it because they're concerned about the security implications.
Any of it. What do you think about any of it?
Any of it. I'm gonna be honest. So I personally think that part of this is like a publicity stunt, a marketing ploy, for them to withhold, to say that they are withholding this model because they are concerned about the security implications of this, of people getting a hold of and using this model.
It's just too good.
It's just too good for the public to have. Like, we just cannot allow this to be in the hands of the general public. And so we're only giving it to the elite few who we're going to allow to use it for now. And then they're going to make they made all these statements about all these capabilities, but yet we haven't been able to verify it for ourselves to see what's going on. And so I'm not saying that it doesn't have those capabilities. It's not able to do it, but to go the route of like, oh, this is too dangerous of a tool to put in the hands of people is, in my opinion, nonsense. I mean, the community has been pushing out security testing tools for a long time now. And I know that there has been debate over the practice of that, of whether or not that is ethical, whether or not that is for the better good of everyone. But nonetheless, it happens. And furthermore, I would say I would be curious of how much better this new model actually is versus the previous ones, like what difference that is making versus just the general scaffolding and tooling that they are putting around leveraging the model, right? So like with a lot of these models, the power isn't just in the model, it's in how you leverage it and how you use it. And so I part of me just feels like this is a marketing ploy so that when they do open it up, companies are like, oh, we have to have this now. Like, we have to jump on this. We have to pay for this. If we don't, we're going to fall behind. So.
And all the communication that's coming from our customers seems to indicate that is, like, we've already been asked by multiple customers, hey, when y'all getting that Mythos thing?
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting. Apparently, Anthropic is claiming they're only going to allow access to 40 vetted organizations. 40. That's
why an arbitrary number of 40?
I don't know. It seems an insanely small number. And just for the record, am I the only one who sees the irony in an AI company saying, we made a model that's too smart? And this is after all of the push and all of the just headlong rush for AGI. And now they get a model that is super smart, that can do all kinds of things and can even break out of a sandbox. And now they're freaking out. It's like, is this what you were
Opus 6 can break out of a sandbox. Ask me how I know. Or Opus 4.6 rather can break out of a sandbox. Ask me how I know. Right? Because I turned on the sandbox feature of Claude Code and watched the coding agent go, I can't execute this because I'm in a sandbox. Let me change that in the JSON. Oh, now I can access it. Like, okay, that's great, right? So I guess I agree with Brian that, like, I think there's a lot more to scaffolding code or brown large language models and how you process the input and deal with the output and the whole agentic loop thing. Like, I think there's more to the scaffolding than people give credit to. And as someone who's been building like agentic pen testing solutions, I almost don't care if it's a better model because I think the scaffolding is more important. Right? I really do. Like, and also I'll say that if it is that much better at cybersecurity tasks, it also means that it's very likely that much better at all the other tasks, like, too, right? But also Pixar, it didn't happen, right? And so, and you know, to claim that, you know, it's found all these vulnerabilities, well, specifically what kind of vulnerabilities, right? Because you found 1,000 vulnerabilities in Windows, and I'll be arbitrary, And I mean, how many of them are serious or significant? Because I've definitely seen AI find a vulnerability in my testing, and then a tester, someone who's a penetration tester's experience, come and look and go, yeah, I guess it's technically a vulnerability, but that's a lot of things would need to fall into place for that to have actual impact, right? And so, I guess I'm with Brian. I'm skeptical, and I think that they might be tired of releasing like frontier models and having folks distill them and release models that are, 85% is capable and 90% cheaper, right? Ask me how I know about that too, right? And so I have some skepticism.
Well, okay, some of the specific things that they claim Mythos discovered. A 27-year-old bug in OpenBSD's TCP stack, or SACK, S-A-C-K implementation. A 16-year-old FFmpeg codec vulnerability that apparently automated fuzzing tools missed a lot. A 17-year-old FreeBSD NFS remote code execution vulnerability, CVE 2026-4747. Linux kernel vulns, browser exploit chains, I really don't see as being that momentous because browsers, of course, are evil, all of them. I don't care. I'm not surprised that it found these vulnerabilities, but I have a question as to, is Mythos the only model that they've attempted to find vulnerabilities like this with?
Yeah, well, and I'm looking, so I mean, just listening to those and thinking about it, I mean, so most of those that they mention are open source tools, right? And they even mention for I think the FFmpeg one, they found the one line of source code that had been overlooked. So so to me, it sounds like a lot of this is just source code analysis. I hate to say just source code analysis, but it's doing what AI is good at. Like if you have the source code, like you can feed in the source code of a program, that's a whole lot different of a task versus saying, hey, agentic AI, go pen test this web application where we don't have source code, or kind of what Derek was mentioning earlier, go find vulnerabilities in the Windows kernel where we don't have access to the source code. These finding issues in more the closed source applications, whatever way they might manifest themselves in more of that agentic manner versus just shoving in a bunch of source code to it. I think those are two different things, right? I would be curious to see too, I mean, how well this stacks up against a lot of the other models. I mean, feeding in the same amount of source code. I know they have like some little metrics, but still, I mean, it's easy enough to contrive those numbers depending on different prompting and different ways that you go about it, right? But
yeah, and this kind of elitism stuff where only some companies are going to be good enough to, ride this ride, like really irritates me. And makes me wonder if other companies might go in opposite direction, because sort of along the same time frame, we saw Google release Gemma 4 as an open weight model that'll run locally on your system. And I haven't done a lot of heavy lifting with it yet, but so far what I'm hearing in my limited testing with it, it seems pretty powerful. And the hacker in me wants AI to be available for all. Right. Like, I don't think it should be. And I think this sets the precedent of, well, the good AI is only going to be used by the elite few, and the rest of y'all get this, second tier crappy AI. Yeah, I don't like that. And I know the Chinese basically lead in, the open weight model stuff, but I really would like to see, some other U.S. companies, take Google's lead and like give us a model file that we can run locally on our hardware that does. I'm not saying it has to be as good as the frontier models. I know it won't be, right? Because you can only run so much, but it sure would be nice to be able to do what I'm currently doing with Claude Code locally on my machine. And I do think that's in the realm of possibility. And I'm excited about, a U.S. company releasing an open weight model and being at least somewhat more transparent and not as elitist.
Here's another thing too, besides just like I don't know if I want to say beside, but also kind of going along with the elitism is look at some of the companies that are listed as having access to this and think about the amount of money that they have funneled into the technologies in Anthropic.
Yeah.
So then it becomes basically a pay to play, but pay to play at a much higher level, right? We're not talking
table
like,
stakes are a lot higher. Yeah.
Yeah, if I was going to believe in your altruism, instead of saying 40 companies, be like, if you're a vetted U.S. security company, like you're Huntress or Black Hills or, Trusted Sec or whoever, yeah, you can apply and get access to it. Just like, getting like, access to any kind of other service. After we have to prove we're like a business and we're legit. Like, why wouldn't we be able to get access to it? That seems like really arbitrary. And, maybe they have like CPU load concerns or something. I don't know. But like, I don't know.
Well,
I just don't really like that situation.
No, I mean, who decides who is vetted enough to have access? I mean, it is elitism, and that business of the pay to play, man, that's a slippery slope, because we know how none of the AI companies that I'm aware of are actually turning a profit from their own generated income. They have if they have positive cash flow, it's because they've got VC pouring money into them and other people pouring money into them, but they are not self-sustaining. And I think if I were with any of the frontier organizations, I would be a little concerned about that, because the current state is not sustainable. But anyway, that's off topic. The other thing too is that it seems to me like Anthropic is using this hype around Mythos as a way to draw attention to Project Glasswing. Are you both familiar with Project Glasswing?
Yeah, I read about it, and so it seems like that in a nutshell, those are the companies that are going to get access to the models because they have critical infrastructure like AWS or was it JP Morgan Chase? I guess their financial critical infrastructure, and I get that. But when we talk about critical infrastructure, like, okay, AWS and JP Morgan Chase, sure. Also my power company. Like, I'm going to go with that's critical infrastructure. My water company, are they getting access to this? I mean, sorry, I need power and water before I need AWS and money, right? Like
power, water, gas,
Maslow's hierarchy of needs here, right? Like,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So for those who aren't familiar with Project Glasswing, it's a defensive cybersecurity initiative that allegedly is being built by Anthropic around Mythos. The launch partners include little companies like AWS, Apple, Broadcom, Cisco, CrowdStrike, Google, JP Morgan Chase. Try and say that 5 times fast. Linux Foundation, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and of course, Palo Alto Networks. So allegedly, there's something like $100 million in usage credits and $4 million in donations that are going to be given to open source security organizations. I would love to know who those organizations are.
Hopefully OpenSSL, since a lot of those companies that made billions of dollars probably use OpenSSL, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like, what makes CrowdStrike any different than what we do here at Black Hills? Like, how come we can't get access? Like, I'm not saying that they can be sued for it, but I'm sure someone's going to try, right? Like, it just seems like very, like, you're picking and choosing who you're going to sell to on what basis? Like, why? How are you picking them? Like, I don't know, why is CrowdStrike better than Huntress or us or Trusted Sex, binary defense? Like, why?
How large is CloudStrike compared to Black Hills?
I mean, they're probably 10 times our size. Like, I think, based on what we have at our SOC and, pen testing, I think looking at, I've done some competitive analysis. I think they had somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 to 1,100 like SOC customers last I checked a couple years ago. So they are bigger than us. No doubt. Does that make them more important? I would say no. And so I guess what I would suggest, if someone from Anthropic, I know they don't listen to our podcast, but if they did,
they might.
I would say I think you should open it up to a little bit broader information security audience, because the folks at CrowdStrike, while they do great things, they're just one tiny little sliver of all of us that have been doing this kind of work for a long time. And I find it a little infuriating that we can't be part of that club.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since our testers have been known on occasion to evade CrowdStrike defenses.
It used to be a
once or
joke,
twice.
right? I mean, I'm sure it's better now, but I mean, I was on many a test personally where all you had to do was this to get past CrowdStrike. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they don't have a great product, but they're just one tiny little sliver, and I don't think it's fair.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree.
Well, all right. So I think that probably beats up our Mythos take, right?
Yeah.
That too dangerous to release framing it's kind of sketchy. It will be interesting to watch.
One other part we didn't really cover, and that is the quote Vulnpocalypse concern, mostly because I wanted to say Vulnpocalypse. But so it was either HackerOne or BugCrowd. I think HackerOne, Corey was saying yesterday on the news, and I'll repeat it, that they've suspended their bug bounty programs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
yes.
right. Yeah.
Because
that was yep.
So, okay, again, it's one thing to find 1,000 vulnerabilities. It's another thing for them to be legit, true, impactful vulnerabilities. And so if we have a whole lot of AI slop vulnerabilities, which just seems to be what's happening, again, is Mythos doing the same thing? And yeah, I agree. There's probably a gem or two in there, but like really what, like what Brian said earlier, is that the model or the harness? I've gotten pretty good results on existing models with decent harnesses. Just saying. So I don't know that the Vulnpocalypse is nigh. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, if it is, it's not just because we have bigger and better and badder models that are able to do more, but the key takeaway with HackerOne no longer accepting submissions, they've had the number of submissions go up by orders, plural, of magnitude. A lot of them are slop. They can't keep up. And the really sucky part is that our bug bounty system has zero rewards to organizations or company that fix vulnerabilities that are found. And that's a huge disconnect. But it has nothing to do with Mythos or its supposed capabilities, but it highlights how our entire vulnerability identification and remediation process. I'm getting hammered for saying things are broken, but I can't think of a better way to describe it. It's broken. It doesn't work. And so now we're not going to have a bug bounty program through the biggest organization. I know. May you live in interesting times.
Yeah, it's the ancient Chinese curse. It's a tale of two cities. Yeah. Best of times and worst of times, right?
Maybe we need to make a patch bounty program.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that it's a lot harder to patch than it is to find the vulnerabilities. And sometimes it isn't easy to find the vulnerabilities. So in no way am I dissing the people who are finding the vulnerabilities. No way at all.
Not at all.
But then figuring out how to close that barn door. And I really would love to see companies like Anthropic and whatnot. Great. You built a model that can go and break all of this stuff. Now can that model turn around and help fix it?
Yeah.
Actually, yes, it can. I have definitely had Claude Code help me fix lots of things that have been painful in the past, specifically Linux NVIDIA drivers. But yeah, so I think that it can, and I think that unfortunately we live in a time when, like, that like fixing things and those kinds of AI applications aren't what gets you in the news. It's I hacked something with AI. So I'm sure there are companies out there that are using AI to help out systems administrators, and if not, well, it's probably coming soon.
Yeah. Yeah, people enjoy watching the fire more than they enjoy watching the fire be put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet. Well,
yeah. Cool. Well, if for any of the viewers, if you guys have hot takes, cold takes, or lukewarm takes, whatever, you want to put them in the comments, we'd love to hear them.
Yes, please, please do. Your comments help let us know if we're doing a good job and what else you might want to hear about.
And we'll say, and with that, keep on prompting.